Hey guys, Max Tune. Welcome to a game called The Moon Sliver. I feel like I've had this one for a while. I think it is relatively short. It's a little like, I don't know exactly. I think it's like a walking sim type. Wait, hold on. A game by David, I'm not going to try to say that. Single setting, no save system. Suggest you set aside an hour to complete it. I don't think it'll quite take that long, but just go on and try this. I also own a couple other games by this developer, so you might see those up here on the channel at some point in the near future. So let's check this out. I'm in the game. We're in the game. They did it. Alright. So, conserve your flashlight battery. Recharge it at power outlets. Yesterday, 4 people lived on this island. Now only 1 remains. Is that one me? We got this vignetting on the side. It's a reasonably high jump. Not really. It just feels nicer than jumps in some of the other games I've played recently. Okay, that door is locked. I'm assuming that's a flashlight recharge. Wind. They reached the ruins and strolled leisurely through them toward the shoreline. Issa could remember when the old buildings still stood there, filled with family. There was something in the top left. Oh, there he is. I'm sorry, he said. He cried because he often cried during these talks. For what? She said. For a lot of things. These conversations were not new. Long ago, Issa had learned to love Abel despite and for his despondency. She hugged him as the wind tossed her long gray hair around. Okay, so. Interesting. Door? Oh, I can go in this one. Issa kept a smile on her face, although she did not feel like smiling. She sat down beside the flashlight. What about Ellie? Has Ellie mentioned anything to you? She said. She did not take it either, he said. Nor did I, nor did Abel, she said, and yet it is gone. Daniel, you're the last one I gave the key to, said Issa. Daniel stared at the mysterious control panels. He didn't meet her eyes. He never met anyone's eyes. I didn't take it, he said. Why would I take it? I'm the one that told you it was missing. Fresh air from an unseen crack in the corner cut through the room's stuffy musk. The rusted junk cast shadows on the opposite wall. How do you know Abel didn't take it? He said. Because I trust him, she said. He's a dismal man, but he would never hurt any of us. Do you trust Ellie? Daniel didn't answer immediately. I trust all of you, he said, because that's how he had to live. Have to live. There's something quiet scurrying in the corner. A mouse or a rat. I think that's all the stuff in this room. About in this house. I'm saying she knows more than she's telling us, said Ellie. Okay. Ellie is suspicious of somebody. She keeps the chapel locked, and she's the only one with a key, said Ellie, leaning on the barrels and folding her arms. So you're saying she took it? He said. My problem is that she's a liar, Ellie said angrily, fiddling with the knobs on the machine as she paced around. And that I have to keep explaining this to you over and over again. You don't know her like I know her. Exactly. You're not an impartial judge, he said. What is your problem with Issa? Daniel said, putting his book down. He was annoyed at being interrupted here. Okay. So that conversation, you're kind of experiencing these conversations not necessarily in like linear order. You're getting bits and pieces of them at a time. Mysterious liquid had drained from the tank into the water long ago. Place was a forest once. Oh, can I interact with this tree? I saw. Issa could remember the glorious living trees barely. A damp tangle of trees and foliage, free to run wild and unkempt. These skeletons were all that remained. This bunker looking thing over here. Come back when night falls. I don't want to be here when night falls. There were no spider webs on the skeleton remains. The last of the spiders died years ago. The night was wild and cold. The monstrous tracks leading from the hatch were brand new, but the wind quickly erased them. Oh, there's a... There's some sort of combination code to get in there. I've not seen anything that looks like it would... Oh, there's more here to go look at. There's some submerged stuff over there. A couple of these have chimneys with smoke coming out of them. They could make more candles. They couldn't make more wood. So Abel burned candles. There's an evil man on this island, and I know him well. We played together as youths. We have cried together. We have eaten together. We have loved the same women, betrayed the same women. He is my constant companion and my worst enemy. He puppets my arms, legs, and mouth to his own selfish ends, and secretly hurts everyone I love as I watch, helpless, with their unshed, unfelt blood on my hands. He gifts my flesh with indescribable pleasures, and blights my soul with unutterable despair. His name is Sin, and we are irrevocably bound together. Surely there exists no hell worse than this. Okay, that's the note. Abel read to escape. Daniel read to feed his lofty, strange thoughts. Issa read to pass the time. But Ellie? As far as Abel knew, she hadn't opened a book in years. What did she do all day? He didn't know. Sometimes he worried about her. He worried about all of them. Were they as melancholy as he was? There's one more. That's the note. What childlike emptiness I feel to find the most peaceful solace in fantasy, to find in masquerades a truth more vivid than reality. What sort of twisted villains were the ancient writers to taunt us with unreachable worlds more beautiful than our own? We have enough stored food to live long lives. When our wood runs out, we will be cold, but only as cold as to be uncomfortable. The water is rising, but it will be many years before it reaches our homes. Technically, we survive. But to what end? This island is all the world we know, and it is nothing but the broken pieces of a fairy tale. So we're in some kind of post-apocalypse, it seems. Potentially climate disaster sort of thing. Abel often visited Daniel. He loved to talk, and Daniel loved to listen. Issa and I were out for a walk, said Abel as he entered. I thought I'd stop Daniel before his book... I thought I'd stop by before you got caught up in a book. Daniel put his book down. Hello, he said. His expression confused Abel. I've been thinking about life, said Abel, sitting down, and death, and uncertainty. Daniel stared at the pile of wood he hadn't burned for months. Let's talk about Ellie instead. Abel was silent for a moment. What about Ellie? He said. Daniel didn't need to answer. Abel swallowed. All right, let's talk about Ellie. That seems to be everything in this room. Daniel took the dead flashlight and replaced it with a fully recharged one. Listening to Abel talk and thinking unrelated thoughts, he preferred the sharp illumination of flashlights to the dimness of flame. Couple submerged houses over there. Daniel sat with Ellie under this tree, his arm around her. And it was the tree. Do you remember when we used to climb that tower over there? He said, I wonder how long before the whole island is underwater. I assume this one. Can't go out any further. There's still a couple houses over there to check, but I'm going to check out this stuff. Okay, we got another hatch. The door had rusted shut. It would never open. But I can still play with those. Okay, I've not seen anything that looks like codes yet. So there's still a fire in this one. What were you and Abel doing at his house yesterday while I was climbing the mountain? He answered, casually flipping through the book on her table. It was covered in dust. Ellie was laying on the bed. Daniel came in. She scowled at him suspiciously and beautifully. What were you and Issa doing in the old power building? What were you talking about? Okay, my flashlight is dying. She glared at him. I'm going to get wood, she spat. Did you think I was too stupid to know? He said. I'm going to get wood. Okay, so that seems to be that. I remember when the moon still shined. When each night was bathed in warm silver, and the shadows were mysterious and friendly, and the island was a place of joy. That was many years ago. Since it disappeared, this place has become cold and stark, plagued by an inexplicable sense of loss and despondency. Daniel and Ellie are young. They do not feel it. They don't remember what the world used to be like. But Abel and I do. And we are both filled with longing for intangible joys that it can no longer provide, for friends that do not exist, for feelings that cannot be reasonably felt. When I was younger, I smiled because I felt like smiling. Now that smile is a disguise. So this is all of the houses over here. She took the knife from the shelf. The blade was dull and rusty. She took the knife from the shelf. The blade was dull and rusty, but it's still pointed. She was not smiling, but it was still pointed. That's a book on a chair. E. I believe the word of Hector and the religious teachings that were passed on to me. Maybe the moon is still out there, hidden behind some cloud of darkness, and maybe the ones who went before us are waiting there. There is no way to know. We have to wait for death to find out. And truth be told, I am ready. I am ready for the beginning of a new adventure. Issa could not talk to Abel about her feelings because Abel was overburdened with his own. So she often sat at her desk and wrote. She did not know who would ever read her papers, but there was something profound about preserving thoughts so that they would live long after there was nobody around to read them. So this is all like journaling, this here. The knife thing, I'm not entirely sure. I have a thought, but I'm not entirely sure. Picked up a key, but apparently it's not for this. It has changed. I didn't even go up the mountain. Hold on. It appears to be nighttime. Charge my flashlight. I want to check that one building that I couldn't get into first. It is night, so I assume that I should be able to get into there, to that room over there soon. But I want to check this building over here. That one over in the distance. The key for here? It is, in fact, a key for here. Daniel was still thinking about his talk with Abel the day before, as he absent-mindedly picked the book up. Something caught his eye, or rather the lack of something. The moon sliver was gone. The moon sliver, okay. The word of Hector 4. Again, the moon came to Hector in a dream. The woodland teeth is vanquished, it said. Your people are safe for now, but it still waits, lurking in the depths. It fears the moon sliver, and it will not dare appear again while the holy document remains in your possession. But know this, should the moon sliver ever be destroyed, even my divine light will not be able to save you from the wrath of the woodland teeth and the darkness of hell. Keep it safe, keep it ready, and may you live in prosperity on this island that I have given you. Let your prosperity be a sign that the words I speak are true. Okay, so some... The word of Hector 3. Most of the text is illegible. Hector descended darkness, terrible whispering, infinite and deep. Did not know how long he wandered. Promises of brutal torture and mutilation waiting. Begone, teeth of the forest. Spoke the holy incantations written upon, returned to the surface. Okay. Now there's one here. Word of Hector 2. The woodland teeth, the monster of the forest, was more tenacious than the other demons. It hated the people of Hector, and desired to take the island away from them, and it lured them in dark corners and unseen passageways, scheming, horrifying schemes. It came to pass that Ursula was taken, stalked by the woodland teeth in the dark underground, attacked, and dragged down to hell. Then the moon came to Hector in a dream and said, "Hector, the time has come. Your great enemy has arrived. You would all do well to tremble, for his power is great and his depravity is unspeakable. Go, take the moon sliver from its pedestal and do battle." And so Hector went to the Chapel of Infinite Light and retrieved the moon sliver and went into the tunnels. Okay. Got this one over here. Word of Hector 1. The moon sliver was written by the pure spring rain upon pages of dried leaves and found by noble Hector. The moon spoke to Hector, saying, "Take this, the moon sliver." Have I been saying silver this whole time? The moon sliver. I have trouble reading words. "And make for it a place in the Chapel of Infinite Light. For it is a holy document. Man cannot read it, but its every letter is known to the demons of the night, and greatly feared. Know that it will protect you, even should my light cease to bathe the night in holy silver. Give it a place of honor, and treat it as a prized possession, for it is your weapon against evil." And so Hector took the moon sliver and placed it in the Chapel of Infinite Light, upon a silver pedestal. And the night was warm with light, and the day was bright with warmth. Sliver. I feel like one is missing. This 3... Was this 4? I thought this was 5. Okay, that was 4. Okay, so that's all of them, I think. So the moon sliver is gone, which is a holy document. That sounds like rain. Oh, geez. It is dark, dark. There was a charger back behind this place, yeah? Okay, so I want to... Okay, this is the ruins. Probably still can't get in here. So I want to go in this door. The night hasn't fallen? This is not night? Oh, I just push all of them. Okay. So could I have come down here at any point? Okay, we got a new music happening. Ellie was uneasy. The darkness had never felt this menacing before. It seemed alive, watchful. The code was forgotten. Nobody had been below in many years. So I might need to go find a code. This is a labyrinth, it seems. A family of rats lived amid the crates of dried food. They were perhaps the last animals left alive. Perhaps. In situations like this, it would be nice to have a run button. There does not appear to be one. Ellie? Daniel's voice echoed around the tunnels. Silence. She couldn't explain the feeling. It was as though something was lurking around every corner, staying out of sight, staying ahead of her. Daniel heard soft, scratching footsteps behind him. He turned and shined his flashlight around the tunnel. Nothing. The flashlight is dying. Okay. Cool, there's a charger in this room. Got it. Is this a dead end? No. No, it's not a dead end. He called again. Ellie? Still no answer, but he heard the footsteps again. Okay, spooky monster noise, got it. She felt its breath before she felt its claws, and then she was gone. Okay, so the moon sliver has been gotten, and now Ellie is gone. There's her flashlight on the ground. Go back this way. Right? Hopefully. Oh, nope, I am elsewhere. He didn't even have time to cry out at the shadow silhouetted in his flashlight beam lunging towards him. Okay, so now Daniel seems has also been got by a demon of the darkness. So, seems that the story is Ellie and Daniel had some sort of argument based on assumedly some interactions between themselves and the other two people on the island, Abel and Issa, the older two, and had an argument. Ellie stormed off. I'm gonna go get wood. Come down here and got. But it also seems like it was Issa who destroyed the moon sliver. The key to that room was in her house, her little house. She'd never felt like this before. She knew these tunnels well. She'd been down here hundreds of times. Yet she was lost, confused, and afraid. Is that all that's all that's this room? Where did I come from? That's a dead end, right? Okay. I'm also lost. Not so much confused and afraid, but lost, yeah, a little bit. Went that way. That was where the two others died. I guess I go back and either up and out or try to figure out the code to that thing. I'm not actually sure where to go from here. I'm gonna check a guide. Okay, so I was supposed to get the code to down here, in a thing, but I guess I just guessed it. Okay, so. Ah, shoot. At least there's a charger right here. Alright, back to trying to guess the code. Okay, I got it. This room has been burned. They had to know the truth, and Hector would not tell it. So down here, where nobody would find him, he wrote on scraps of paper. Maybe someday someone would discover them. I don't see any scraps of paper. Alright. Did that. I guess now I should check what I'm supposed to do next. I can go back to Issa's house and open her lockbox. Wow, yeah, that is night. Turn to the mountain. I guess I'll just do this. Issa couldn't remember the last time she had been under the mountain. There was no reason to come here, but she had looked everywhere else. She clutched the old knife in her right hand. Yesterday, the moon sliver went missing. Today, Ellie, Daniel, and Abel were all nowhere to be found. She knew the word of Hector by heart. The sinister implications were not lost on her. So then, it was not Ellie she called, Daniel, Abel. So it was not. Abel heard her and answered, "I'm here." There's something strange about his voice, something that Issa didn't like. "What are you doing here?" I'm reading of ages past," he said. "Do you know where Ellie and Daniel are?" she said. "I do not," he said. "They are missing," she said. "They are missing, and the moon sliver is missing. Do you understand me? Do you understand what this implies?" "I do," he said. "Night will fall in a few hours, and we need to stick together. We can sleep in the same house, mine or yours. We'll keep the fire burning. We'll keep the door locked, and we will pray, Abel. We will pray to the unseen moon for mercy and protection." "Are you happy here, Issa?" "We can't stay in the dark. It thrives in the dark. Are you happy?" "Yes, I'm happy. Please, Abel." There were tears in his eyes, and he struggled to control his voice. "Issa, I know you. I know every inch of you. I know every corner of your mind. You aren't happy. None of us are happy." Issa didn't respond. "I'm staying here." The tears were flowing freely now. "I would like it if you stayed with me. Issa, please stay with me." "It will find you, Abel." "I let it out, Issa. I destroyed the moon sliver." Issa was shocked and silent. "I burned it yesterday after I talked with Daniel." Her eyes were filling with betrayed, angry tears. "What, Abel?" "No, why? Do you want to be dragged to hell? Do you want us to be dragged there with you? We are already in hell. This island, this horrible, barren, lonely island, this place of sin, this is hell. I saw the blasphemous scraps of paper Jeremiah found those many years ago. I read them before they were destroyed. Perhaps I was the only one who did, and I did not believe them. But I have lived life since then, and I have seen the truth of their words." Issa could not respond, and tears streamed down her face. She just kept walking toward the sound of his voice, the knife clutched in her hand. You did not read the blasphemous scraps, Issa, but I did. I remember them with incredible clarity. Supernatural clarity, even. Fear not the dark shadows or the scratches in the night, for the woodland teeth is your salvation. It is your escape. It said this and more, Issa. The woodland teeth is not here to take us to hell. It is here to take us away from hell. She could see him ahead, her flashlight beam cutting through the sickly fog. He was sitting in a chair, a book on his lap, as she approached. She could see that he was crying too. I believe the word of Hector, she said, and I will not go to hell. Please trust me, please. I believe the word of Hector, she said. She put the knife to her chest, point first. No, Issa, please don't. Stay with me. Don't leave me alone. I love you, she spat tearfully. I love you so much. My flashlight is gone. She closed her eyes and pushed. She remembered where the heart was located from one of her father's old books. Abel was too slow to catch her falling body. He knelt beside her and sobbed for some time. He was not a strong young man anymore, but Issa's body was light. He would take her out to the water. She had always loved the water. But then what? Read? Read until it found him? No, he didn't feel like reading anymore. He was ready to be rid of this entire cursed island, books and all. He would simply wander, aimlessly and freely, to take one last look at the island and feel the wind blowing the memories away. And then, when night fell, he would return and wait. Oh, hello. I assume that's the end? Okay. This one is pretty interesting. It took me about 40 minutes. There's just a lot going on there. So, in some sense, you've got these 4 people on an island who assumedly were part of some sort of religious, potentially cult thing, in like a post-apocalyptic sort of situation, or at least the island they were living on was in some sort of post-apocalyptic situation where the water was rising and slowly taking away the land that they lived on. There was likely a larger group of people living there before, and then, just over time people died and there weren't really more people, and so you end up with these 4 people, and they're following the word of Hector, which we read there in that one room where the moon sliver was supposed to be, which was a holy object that was supposedly protecting them from these demons, which apparently were real in some sense. But it's sort of a question as to whether, are those demons actually demons, or was it sort of like Hector's protection, whatever, he was the moon, who had abandoned them in some sense. It's just like, what's the truth in sort of religion and ideology that you can't prove in any sort of meaningful way? If you die and no one else is around, you can't really prove it, So I don't know. That's a really interesting concept for an interactive fiction. You're just sort of going through this. This is very much like a walking sim sort of thing, but you're sort of going through trying to figure out what's going on. But in the end, you are able. That was cool. Again, one thing, I think walking sims should have run buttons. When I was having to backtrack through the tunnels, because that's an optional area, that's what it says in the official walkthrough, it would have been nice to have a run button so that I could run. I don't think there was one. Maybe I'm mistaken. Oh, wait. I'm in the game. We're in the game still. What's going on? Morning dawned on the empty island, cold and bright and windy. The moon sliver. Okay, we got credits. All right. I just was standing still. Sound, free sound stuff. Textures, some people off DeviantArt, engine, Unity. Okay, so this is one that's made in Unity. This is a pretty cool game. Yeah. The end. Okay, I think that's it. I think it's just over. Yeah. The moon sliver. There's an L before the I. I've been calling it the moon silver up until that point that I realized it wasn't. This is a pretty cool game. I can click on the store page. You can look at that. Store page, $2. Like I said, I have some other games by this guy, so I'll have to check that out and download the thing. There's some, there's definitely criticism to be had, but I think that it was cool. I think that rather than having the stuff sort of pop up like it did, it would have been better to let me click on it and close it in some cases, because sometimes that text coming up and disappearing was a bit confusing, but also sort of you're learning the story in a non-linear way. I don't know. The game was cool. That's my end take here. Is the game was cool. So that was about a little under 50 minutes we're at. So I'm gonna end that here. If you like the video, like button. Dislike the video, dislike button. Check out the moon sliver. Description links. Comment, subscribe, do the things, share, whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.